Hey everyone, and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm the King Live, and in today's video, we're going to be going over our third edition of our recent series, the best agents in each role. We've already done the best controller and the best sentinel, but today we're going to be going over the best duelist in Valorant, which is a little bit more up in the air. Lots of duelists are really strong in their own regards. Teams like 100 Thieves pretty much opt to pick Raze as their solo duelist for a lot of their comps. Reyna still seems to be a very strong agent for solo carrying, but the duelist still with the highest pick rate among VCT and competitive seems to be Jett. There's a part of me that really wants to say that Raze is the best duelist in Valorant, but because of Breeze's release, it seems that Raze is seeing less play on that map as well as a couple of other maps, and Jett is just overall always so strong with the operator and her knives, and just in general, she just seems like she definitely takes the cake. So if Riot wanted to fix that in the coming patches so I can stop talking about Jett, that would be awesome. But if you wanted to learn exactly why Jett is the best duelist and how to utilize her to the best of your abilities without even having incredible aim, and that's the thing, a lot of players think that you need to have incredible aim to play Jett, but that's just really not true. So we're going to break that all down for you today, just stick with us. Before we get into it though, let's introduce our question of the day, which is, what kind of duelist would you like to see in Valorant next? We have a number of duelists in Valorant, but I'm wondering if there's a specific type of duelist that you'd like to see in the future of Valorant. Maybe they're missing a base right now that you think could be covered. Let us know in the comments below. Moving into our very first thing to talk about with Jett though, and that's exactly what makes her strong. Jett is very good at punishing players for bad positioning, because of her ability to close distance so easily. This means that players who are playing positions that would normally be safe, they are no longer safe because a Jett is on the enemy team. This is the scary thing about Jett because in matchmaking, it's really hard for players in competitive to adjust to this. All it takes is one breach flash or omen blind and Jett dash to completely crack open a round, and these things generally catch players really off guard. A very good basic rule to keep in mind when playing Jett though is that when dashing, it's a very good idea to smoke the location that you intend to dash to. The reason you do this is because you have a period of vulnerability when you arrive after dashing, and if any players see you dash out, they're just going to be able to kill you easily. However, if you smoke it, you provide yourself just some cover to strafe out of after dashing, allowing yourself to isolate your angles more easily and safely engage for your team out onto site. Now, this isn't the only way to use Jett's dash. Sometimes players will use it to disengage and deny trades, and this is actually a really good use for the dash as well. However, I want to point out that your dash on Jett is your engage. A lot of players maybe don't know how to engage on Jett, or they're just afraid to do it. Remember when I said it doesn't necessarily take good aim to play Jett? Any player is capable of doing this tactic and having it be successful. Now obviously, as with anything in Valorant, it's going to be better if you do have good aim, but just by dashing onto site and providing your team the entry, the players on site are going to have to deal with two different threats now, and that's something they didn't have to worry about before. The point is, rather than having everybody enter from one place, you're going to quickly provide a threat from a different place, potentially pulling a player's crosshair and allowing your teammates to either pick up an easy kill or pick up a trade at the very least. And this is what I try to encourage all players to understand. Kills are important in Valorant, but it's not necessarily anyone's one job to get those kills. Depending on what rank you're at in Valorant, there's a base level of aim that is required for you to perform well. You're not going to hit a mortal if you can't shoot a target who is not looking at you. However, you don't need the aim of 10s to hit higher ranks. You just need to understand what your job is. And if you're able to effectively engage as a duelist and create space for your team intelligently, you are welcome to bottom frag as Jett any day in my games. Before we move on to knives though, if you guys haven't already checked out our hyper improvement system on skillcapped.com, I highly recommend that you do so. This is by far the fastest way to improve at Valorant and bring your play to the next level, and it's also backed by our rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't feel like you've gotten benefit out of it, it's literally no risk. Lineups, agent guides, and Smurf commentaries, we've got it all, so if this sounds like something that interests you, feel free to check out skillcapped.com, link in the description below. Moving on though to what is oftentimes considered the most overpowered ultimate in Valorant, which is kind of funny because for Jett's ultimate, it's kind of something that flies under the radar a lot of the times too. The reason the knives are so strong though is because it breaks a lot of the fundamentals of Valorant. For example, moving and shooting is generally not a good thing to do. However, with the knives, it doesn't really matter because you're fully accurate. Jumping and shooting is something that is not a good idea because normally you're inaccurate. However, with knives, it doesn't really matter. Eco rounds are a really big part of Valorant. However, with Jett, eco rounds generally just mean you use your knives, which is basically just a rifle and a shotgun combined. Jett is really obnoxious to play against when she has knives, and it's for good reason. What are you supposed to do when you have your knives though? Generally, I suggest saving knives for big rounds when you need to pop them, or eco rounds when you can give your team the chance to come back with a thrifty using your knives to get those opening picks. Just having the chance to turn the tides of a round you are not supposed to win is massive. But even just the knives themselves are incredibly strong because of their ability to throw off the enemy's crosshair placement. This is why you'll often see Jett's updraft before peeking a corner. It's very hard to pre-aim an updrafted Jett. And if you see this, guys, remember, if you have the choice, you do not want to take this fight versus a Jett. This is also why you should be jump peeking corners when you have knives. Because tell me what is more terrifying than a player wide swinging you when you're not expecting it? A player running with knives out, jump swinging a corner. This is something that is very difficult to pre-aim because she's moving even faster because of the knives, and then she's accurate while jumping. And the worst part is, Jett can jump peek every corner like this if she wants to. This is a similar reason to why Raizes always jump around when they have their ultimate, by the way. They're not doing this just for fun, they're doing it to make themselves more difficult to hit. Because although they have a rocket in their hands, it still only takes one bullet to kill them. So if they just run straight in, they could be really easy to shut down. But if they're jumping around, it's far more unlikely they will be headshot right away and brought to an end. And at the top level of Valorant, these are the things that players are constantly thinking about. The game becomes less about how do I land my shots and more about how do I make it more difficult for them to land their shots. The smartest players are constantly thinking about these things, and that's why they're at the top rank. Bringing this back to the aim thing we were talking about though, if you spend more time thinking about how to make it more difficult for the enemies to land their shots, and less time worrying about if you'll land your shot or not, I promise it will help you climb. I've seen some players who have the best aim in the world and they're stuck in platinum because they don't think about what they're doing. They think they can just out-aim every player so they run in and die, and in reality, if they played semi-intelligently, they would be easily immortal overnight. Next time you're in game, try to think about the things that your opponents are doing that makes them difficult to react to, and start doing those things. That honestly is one of the best ways to learn. On that similar topic too, let's talk about off angles, which once again, this is something that doesn't take incredible aim to pull off. The whole point of an off angle is to give you an advantage on your enemies. You don't need to out aim them. This is a level of outbraining your opponents. The reason Jett is so good at off angles is her ability to dash away after getting that early kill and giving her team numbers advantage. Not every agent is capable of this. Try playing that same off angle on Sova. Probably not going to work out so well for you. Not only just having the dash though, but she also has the updraft. You can just sit on top of things in the middle of nowhere, and there's hundreds of spots you can do this as Jett to help yourself get free kills, and make your Jett play one of the most obnoxious things to deal with. Honestly, do it with an operator, do it with a rifle, or even just do it with a judge. It doesn't matter, just abuse this, because it's something that will really work wonders when playing comp. This is even better to do if the enemy team is not using utility to help them clear early angles, because they will literally just run right into your crosshair and you will be ready to capitalize on it. If you're getting a free pick at the start of every single round, not only will you be making the match infinitely easier for your team, but you'll also be absolutely crushing the enemy's hopes of winning. We all know how bad it feels to lose a teammate 2 seconds into the round, or even worse, be the one who gets killed 2 seconds into the round. So just go play some dumb off angle, get the enemy team to call you names, and collect that ranked rating. This stuff works especially well in the lower ranks, so if you're chilling in gold or below, I'm telling you right now, abuse this. Lastly, remember, if you want to improve that KDA, win more gunfights, and get the rank that you've always wanted, then be sure to check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below. Honestly, I was going to finish the video by listing why Jett is so strong with the operator, but I feel like I've made like 20 guides on that so far, so if you want to see some Jett operator tips that bring your game to the next level, we have those available on the channel as well. Today I wanted to go into some things that I have never dived that deep into though, like the knives, so I hope this guide was helpful for all of you to improve at the game, and if it was, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. Lastly, don't forget to answer our question of the day, which is, what duelist would you like to see be added to Valorant? Would love to hear your replies in the comments down below. As always, I'm the King Live, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.